Yeah.
Ow.
Oh, welcome back to Coming This Summer.
An Apple TV original movie.
An Apple TV original movie.
Which this was getting a theater release, correct?
Yeah, okay. So they released Napoleon in the theaters.
I got it.
Huge flop.
Got away. Yeah.
Cost way too much. Should have probably not released it in theaters.
No, that should have been a streaming only movie.
And then there's the Argyle.
Which should have been a streaming only movie.
Should have been a streaming only movie. This one should have been a theater movie.
Yeah, big time. It's Brad Pitt, George Clooney. That would sell tickets no matter what movie. It could have been Brad Pitt, George Clooney, the movie, and they're just themselves grabbing coffee in a diner, like you were saying.
Because their chemistry.
Yeah.
Now, and this one's got good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, critic-wise.
Bad audience score.
But audience scores
it's in the 50s.
Is not great.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm interested to see what you thought of this, because personally I thought it was a fun movie. It's not like oh, well, I'll be watching that 10,000 times. No. It's not that movie. But like, I thought it was like a good palate cleanser.
Yeah.
The movies we've seen the last couple months
haven't been great.
It was just a fun, heisty style, like buddy action movie.
I didn't like them just being antagonistic towards each other.
Okay.
For the sake of that being.
See, I liked it. I just thought it should have, by the middle of the movie, been pulled back a little.
Pulled back a lot.
Like, they don't really, like, we're going to probably spoiler you a little bit.
It makes sense when they first interact to be like, I don't like you, I'm a lone wolf, I'm a lone wolf, fuck you, shit you, they're like going back and forth with insults, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, we're an hour in and they're still doing it, and I'm like, guys, like.
See, I think the issue with that is they're trying to build a franchise. And that, again, is always the problem about most movies nowadays, is like, make the movie and then decide if you're going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Don't try to bake a sequel into an original movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like was absolute. There was some world building going on that we didn't need.
That was my biggest problem with it. Because I'm like, I'm here. You got my watch. Like, I'm here to watch Brad Pitt and George Clooney be like almost rivals, but begrudgingly have to work together.
The trailer gives you like an Ocean's vibe.
Yeah.
And it definitely has a little bit of that vibe to it.
Kinda, yeah.
But you're right. Again, I feel like they set up the hate so that the end scene could happen the way it did, so that we could lead into the sequel.
Right.
Which sucks, you're right. There's no reason to.
We got to have them hate each other so that by an hour, 20 minutes in, and you're at the end of the movie, you care about their relationship.
Now they don't
they
hate
like each other.
Right. Too much.
I get, but yeah, it was.
My biggest complaint was and I actually went and looked this up because I couldn't believe it, but I don't like the way the movie was scored. It is non-stop.
I didn't pay attention to music. Okay.
Every scene is like.
Even when they're just like
having
a conversation in the car.
And I was like, at first I'm like, oh, it's in my head, but then midway through, I looked up the composer. The dude has done some of the biggest, I can't even think, there's so many. He's done like every major movie in Hollywood that's not been done by like someone else that you've heard of.
Okay.
This guy's done like everything.
Okay.
That would have been my overall biggest complaint.
Is the score.
Is the score. I like, you're right about that. That's a nitpicky thing.
That's my biggest complaint.
I think it makes up for it only because of the end, but again, it's stupid because they're setting up a franchise. They're like,
spoilers.
Oh, we're gonna.
It ends on a cliffhanger.
It definitely ends on a cliffhanger.
But
this felt like they're trying to build a more fun
John Wick,
like a less serious. We can be breezy. An Ocean's Wick, if you will.
John Oceans.
See,
but they are building that universe because they're like a part of this organization
which we don't find out about until the very. Oh, you got the same guy. Your boss is the same boss as mine. Which I'm saying, like they did all. That is the biggest takeaway of this. Negative takeaway of this movie is too much. Let's build a world. John Wick doesn't do that.
No.
The first John Wick, they allude to the things.
They go to the Continental,
right? But they don't.
And they have the coins,
but they don't.
But you just assume that's like, oh, it's just
he's an assassin with the coin thing.
He's got a thing with this guy. Right. Like you don't know that it's like, well, everyone who's like an assassin has like coins and.
That's what I mean. Like even if they did a little world building, it didn't feel like it. Plus, that was a low budget movie. It didn't look like they're going to make 10 of those movies. This to me was like, okay, this is the first of 10. So what you need to do,
we got to set up the high organization from John Wick. Like, just put it in the John Wick world. You know what I mean? This is like John Wick if it was set in our reality. Like, John Wick is set in our world, but with some, like, exaggerations for the plot.
Over the top. Right. This definitely was more grounded.
Yeah, except there's this one organization that we don't know
Right, clearly, like that hires or that employs cleaners that go around
Fixers
and
is
cleaners.
what they call them in the description of the movie.
Well, they throw out the word cleaner
Cleaners,
and fixer.
yeah.
But yeah, so basically, it starts off with a big time district attorney.
Yeah, from The Office.
From Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah.
I think Amy Ryan, I think is her name.
Okay. You'll know. I'll flash it.
Yeah.
A picture. Yeah.
So this starts off. I like her, but she was a little grating with the for like the first 10 minutes, like okay, I get it. You're a little upset.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
So she
makes a phone call.
She makes a phone call because the dude she was trying to hook up with has OD'd on drugs, fallen through a glass table, and she doesn't want to go to prison and ruin her political career.
Right.
So she calls a fixer. And then all of a sudden, when he comes there, I'm skipping a little forward.
Sure.
George Clooney's the fixer. He tells her what to do on the phone and gives her like the test to make sure he can trust her. He shows up. While he's in the fixing process, the same knock that he used knocks on the door. The second fixer walks in. It's Brad Pitt. Guess what? The hotel's got secret cameras all over, so the hotel has its own fixer.
Yeah, and I kind of wish like the trailers didn't spoil that they were both like called in for the same job but aren't working together.
Because that opening scene, the first 20 minutes of the movie is brilliant.
When they are in the hotel, and now my criticism there is they were in the hotel for too long, but it's the best part of the movie.
But it's awesome because when they're playing off each other is brilliant because it's super.
Like when he's trying to get the body like on the cart,
you're not going to be able to do it.
He's like, it'll go quicker if you actually get off your ass and help. And then Brad Pitt's just like sipping his Coke.
He's like having a Coca-Cola and he's just watching. Like that's what I mean. Their chemistry.
He's like, I'm not going to show you my tricks. You'll steal it. Like, yeah, okay. I'm like, there's some funny beats here, but it's not a comedy though, which is like also the weird.
But it because there's John Watts movie, Spider-Man trilogy.
Yes,
which I love him. He's a great director. His fingerprints are all over this.
Yeah, big time.
But you're right. There's some parts that are just, it's too long.
They're in that hotel for like 30,
The
30,
chase
40
scene
minutes.
is too long also.
And then the chase scene, bro. Why did that chase scene go on for so? Okay, so
it's cool as hell.
So they get the
until
OD
minute
kid.
11.
They get the OD'd kid in the truck. They're gonna go to somebody.
Which he's supposed to be dead.
He's supposed to be dead.
And every time any of them try to check the pulse, something happens.
Right.
And they don't realize that he's not dead.
Turns out this kid's alive. And just like OD'd in the back of the trunk.
By the way.
He was great. I love the kid. Yep. They take him to like some doctor chick for like their organization or whatever, like their guy.
That's when you first start to sprinkle in the world building.
Yep.
Now they both know this underground doctor who's they both dated allegedly or maybe not. And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And then the kid, they're sharing a drink. Then the kid like runs out of the doctor's building.
She gives him something to
probably like
to bring him out, like adrenaline or something.
Yeah, because he runs naked down the street for like 40 minutes. It feels like it's probably a 15-minute chase scene.
It's too much
of them chasing somebody on foot in a car and can't catch up to them.
Brad Pitt's on foot.
George Clooney's in
a car. They're trying to surround him, and it just goes on. Now the end of the chase scene is awesome.
Yeah,
but I feel like you just got too much in between. Because how it ends with just the hit him, but he flips over because he's all
That's not even
out.
the end.
That's true. Then he takes off.
He gets hit by their car.
Slightly.
Backflips over the car.
Lands on his
gets
feet.
nicked on the thigh a little bit by the car, and then lands and keeps running.
Which it goes very John Watts because they both, like, it cuts to George Clooney and Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's like, damn, all right. Like, he makes
even the kids like, what the fuck?
That was nice. Yeah. And then they took off running again.
Then he runs again. And it's another 5 minutes of running. I'm like, no, that should have been the beat.
Yeah.
Slow motion flip, lands on his feet,
and
then Brad Pitt tackles him. Yeah. That would have been way funnier, and we would have shaved off the time for that chase scene. Like, I love a good chase scene, man,
I do,
but not when it's a car versus on foot.
Felt like they wanted to make John Wick light.
Yep. Junior Wick.
Diet Wick.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
But
those are my biggest problems.
But saying that doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
No.
To me, it's fun. I don't know how it's that low an audience score because their chemistry by itself
saves the movie.
My biggest issue is the end is it decides to get twisty. Like, we gotta like George Clooney's trying to figure it out the entire time, and he's throwing out all of these theories and why things are happening the way they are.
Right.
Which in the beginning of the movie, you're like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you telling us about these drug deals that went wrong? And why are you telling us about? Because I'm just here for a cleaning mission, a fix-it mission. Like, So they're giving you these breadcrumbs to build up the Argentinians or whatever, or the Albanians, or versus these other gang, and you're like,
all these crime lords. And then they go to this wedding party, and there's some other guy who's like employing them. Like, I don't need.
And then he's like, he wants to kill us, and then he's nice to them, and they're like, well, that's so weird. Why didn't he want to kill us? He's being nice. It's like
because they act like they don't know each other.
Right.
They're like, he's gonna kill us if he finds out we know each other.
But at the same time, like, they don't give you enough.
And that dance scene, man, I'm like, you're just creating false tension. For a scene that has no bearing on the rest of the world.
I was telling you, it got a little Argyle-y for a minute.
They show up to this wedding because the kid needs to get like a pager from a guy who left it there to know where he's gonna drop the drugs.
Right, so I left that. So when at the very beginning, when they think he's dead and they're doing the cleaning thing.
They find the backpack.
They find a backpack with drugs. So then they're like, the hotel owner and the DA, it's like, we can't have that on us.
You gotta dispose of those and the body. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now launch us into the movie. Fast forward a little bit. Yeah. We're at this wedding party. The kid needs to grab a pager. He jumps behind the desk and then gets pulled outside by a guard.
Like, you can't be behind here.
And it's like, are they gonna pop this kid? Like for jumping behind? No, they're just throwing him out. I thought it's like, no, we're gonna go kill this kid. That's what I mean.
They set up this. Like, we can't even walk into this. This guy's like a big time gangster. He'll kill us. And then it's like, oh, bad kid, get outside. Oh, guys, I know you pulled guns out at my daughter's wedding, but I love both of you guys so much. And then they leave, and you're like,
yeah.
Why did they spend 10 minutes in the car going, we can't go in there. There's a crazy gangster that's going to kill us if we both walk in there.
And then intense unbuckle seatbelt run up. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like
the kid's like, weird.
And then they find the kid and he's like, I told you I'd figured it out. No,
yeah, then they set up this whole like
nothing about your character gave me confidence that you would pull this off. And you barely did.
Barely.
You know?
But like the kid is supposed to be lucky. Like every time he gets into a situation from the car accident to everything else, he just manages to escape.
Failing upwards.
Yeah. So they set up like the drug deal for him to drop off the drugs.
Yeah.
And they're having a conversation in the car when the kid's inside, like, oh, he's probably gonna die. And it's like, well, if he doesn't die, well, it's like, we're gonna have to kill him.
Right.
And they both don't want to do it.
And they're like, let's just send him in because he'll probably
die. It'll be fine. So they're trying to set this other thing up where if they're gonna kill the kid. There ain't no fucking way that you know neither of them are gonna kill the kid. To make it a better movie, not that I like that kind of stuff, but it would add real tension. But you're like, you can already see the conflict on both of them. Neither one wants to do it. They start talking about the old firing squad ways where everyone shoots and no one knows who the person that actually kills the one. It's like
we do get the diner scene. We go to the drug deal. Drug deal's over. Everyone pretty much murders each other.
Everyone
murders each other.
Except
not one
the
person
kid who managed to hide in the car again because he's super lucky.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden Brad Pitt realizes right before they're going to kill the kid that the drugs have been tracked and shoots the drugs and there's a tracker.
I think he realizes that.
Well, it's like, okay, there was a comment later at the end diner where they almost, you're right.
I think he shot the drugs and was like, oh shit, there's a tracker in there.
The end got sloppy.
What I thought was going to happen is when George Clooney has the gun on the kid.
You thought Brad was going to shoot him?
I thought Brad Pitt was going to shoot George Clooney because he couldn't shoot the kid.
That's what they made it look like. Because George Clooney kind of turns around
like he got shot. Yeah, dog. And then they're on like the subway and like Brad Pitt's like, you got blood on your sweater. And George Clooney's like.
Oh, they do the slow and he's like.
And then he's like, flip them off. They got me for a minute there, man. I'm like. Did he get shot? I'm like, it's been too long because when they were in the firefight, it's been like 10 minutes since then. If he got shot, he would have known before they left the like shootout spot. So
like
I'm like,
adrenaline or something. It's a good fake out.
It's a good fake out. It got me, yeah. But then I'm like starting to think about it.
The dad of the kid is
Bing Bong.
Oh my god, he's in everything.
I'm a man child because we're in this crime boss fucking intense ass movie, and then he shows up. I'm like, Bing Bong.
He plays Inside Out. I'm forgetting his name now. Oh my god, he's in everything. But
he's
he always plays this over the top character in every movie. He walks in and he's like a huge baseball fan. He's got all this baseball memorabilia. I can't remember the player right now. And he's just like telling stories. And then my dad went to the baseball game and got his autograph.
I know.
It's like Mickey Mantle or something like that. And it's just like this weird scene that doesn't need to be there. But
Richard Kind.
That's what it is. Okay. Yeah.
I had to look up his name. I couldn't just say Bing Bong.
But they clearly, and I'm okay with this scene. They gave this scene to him just to have him in the movie. Like, he's like pouring coffee and he's just being his crazy ass self talking about whatever.
Yeah.
That's what you fellas want to talk about.
He's just suburban dad.
Yeah. But then they do some weird thing at the end where he like opens the door and watches them leave and kind of gives
like,
them,
what did they say to him?
A look.
Yeah.
which sets us to the end.
I think they told him, I'm like, if your kid talks, like, we're going
he did,
to
but then
kill
the
them.
dad gives them a look back, which gets us back to the diner at the end.
Was he the guy?
See, I'm wondering if...
Is he the guy?
Because they kept saying...
But wouldn't they know who the guy is, though?
Not that guy. I think they alluded the kid is either really lucky or really
he was
smart.
in on it the whole time.
Mm-hmm. So
I think the latter. Yeah.
Because the dad gives them that look, and the next thing you know, like he's like, yeah, they were not that he's like a huge boss, but maybe he's in the crime thing, and he's like, yeah, they came to my house. Because they mentioned they're like walking out, like let's go get lunch, like let's go. You want to go eat somewhere, and like they're leaving, and then the dad's watching.
Yeah.
So then you get like the end scene.
They're
in
grabbing
the diner.
lunch.
They're grabbing breakfast, lunch, and
They're buddies now.
They're going over everything, and they're putting together all of these twists that we're like, oh, was that a twist?
One of my favorite things about this movie is them having a conversation with each other, but constantly talking over one another because they're
but they all come to the same conclusion.
They're like, I'm listening, but let me work it out too. You know what I mean? Like they're on the phone with somebody earlier in the movie, and they're both trying to explain the situation simultaneously, and the person on the phone is like, I don't know what either of you just fucking said.
Yeah, I know, like we're making it sound a little convoluted, but we're jumping all over.
It's coherent.
It's coherent.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a little extra.
Yeah.
I don't think we needed as many twists or as extra secret plots that are going on.
Just like they tried to fix this thing, it turned out to be more messier than they thought. They get the drugs back, all the crime guys die. The end.
Except at the end, like now they're about to be killed. They figure out that the kid wasn't supposed to go in there. They were supposed to go in there
and die.
Like
they were set up to fail.
Set up to fail constantly.
Yeah.
But they're lucky. And then at the very end, everyone's walking up to the diner with guns to kill them, and they're like, "If we make it out of this alive, we'll tell each other our real names." Like,
this is my biggest problem with the movie. Is I'm like, we still got like 30 minutes you can kill. I'm like, the movie's
like an
only
hour
like
and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not super long.
Like you could have
made it 2 hours.
Could have wrapped this up.
Yeah.
No.
Gotta
Instead, we're
build a
going to end on a
franchise
cliffhanger. I don't want that. I will purposely not see the sequel now because they robbed me of it now.
And we might not get a sequel.
No.
That's the worst
That's
part
the worst
about these
part.
things. You can't.
I'm like, man, I want to know. Like, you're right. We don't even have these characters' names, but there's still so much more to this plot going on.
You could have not revealed that twist. You could have had them becoming friendly at the end, looking out, seeing that they're still being killed, still left it cliffhangery.
Yeah.
Like, did they make it out or not? And then the sequel have them unravel the fact of why everything went wrong. Like, you didn't need.
No.
It's just too
I
much
did not
extra.
need that end title card. And I thought somewhere down the line the DA was going to come back. No. She holds an iPhone earlier in the movie. I'm like, well, you're not the bad guy. Yeah. I'm like, it's kind of a shitty rule iPhone. Maybe.
Yeah. It's like, oh, did she see? Because then then there's a post-credit scene or a mid-credit scene. Did you not? They show all. There's a scene earlier where like Brad Pitt's like, I'm gonna go delete all the
the camera
footage. And George Clooney's like, well, let's go. He's like, well, you can't go.
No.
And he's like, well, how do I know?
Of course I can go. What are you talking about?
I can't. If I don't see you delete it, I'm not gonna believe you. How do I know you're not gonna hold on for blackmail? He's like, my boss doesn't want you to see. He's like, what kind of other shady shit you got?
Right.
So then at the end of the movie, they show you the footage.
Oh, yeah. And it just shows you what happened.
It shows you the actual thing that happened.
But that's just what happened. It's what they said happened.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's like, I don't understand.
It's like the DA was like, he was in the bathroom, he did a rail of cocaine, and then jumped on the bed and fell. And it's like, here's the footage
what really
of that.
happened.
And it's that.
And it's that.
And it's like, no, I know. I didn't need to see it.
I was expecting like them to show like the DA like push him or like spike his drink. Or like the hotel person call her and go like, now. Anything.
Not like, nah. He just falls off the bed.
That's what happened. He jumped up and down like a kid.
Isn't that funny?
He's like 18 and he's like a college freshman.
We already knew that happened.
Yeah.
If anything, I think they shot that for the start of the movie and then ended up not using it and just starting the movie with her freaking out that he's already dead.
Yeah.
Like I could see this movie starting out with the CCTV like footage of the room, you know? But it's like,
well, you could have done flashes. You could have like 10 seconds of that to her like,
right,
and then back to that. And
yeah. So maybe that was, but maybe they just
Weird.
shifted it to like, it's a good scene, it's a funny scene, so it's like, why not just shift it to the end? But it's like, no, we already know what happened.
Right.
Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then the kid looks like the most shady drug dealer on the fucking planet. I'm gonna walk into this 5-star hotel with a hoodie, hood up, and a backpack.
See, that's the stuff they show, which I thought they were alluding to maybe that the kid is more in on it because he was like, I just happened to, I'm just flipping to blah blah.
True. Like he was there to drop.
He was definitely there to do some bad stuff.
True. Very true.
So I think, but that's really, again, they're giving you 7-movie series.
Now we're just speculating at this point.
Right.
Yeah, for
right.
a movie that we don't even know is getting a sequel. That probably won't. And Brad Pitt and George Clooney are really old.
Right. And
like, so do they want to be in a franchise? Like, I don't know.
Well, because all the rumors about them doing like a new Oceans.
Oh, true.
Franchise.
Wasn't there like, there's going to be a prequel with like their characters from Oceans, like how they first met?
Yeah, I don't know if that's happening now. I don't know.
Was that supposed to be this? Like, I don't know.
No, that's the thing is the different. Like, this is a fun, breezy movie.
Yeah.
But it, like the Oceans movies, as a comparison, each one is self-contained.
Yeah.
You can watch one of them and go, that's a good movie.
In fact, I've seen those 3 movies so many times, and I have no idea how they blend together in 1, 2, and 3.
Well, like, I think 12 is Revenge from 11, right?
See, I don't know.
Or 13 Revenge from 11.
Because I've only watched them isolated because you can.
Right.
Like, Wolves 2 is going to come out, and it's like, well, you can't watch Wolves 2 unless you watch Wolves 1.
Which I feel like they tried to make it to where this could be a standalone, but again, by the end, it's too much. They got too much baggage.
But before the cliffhanger, it could have been. Mm-hmm. But the second they do that,
yeah, they could have left the house and going like after don't tell anybody anything, and then they're like, you want to go grab a bite? It could have ended with them going to the like not showing it,
like
but
a shawarma.
Let's go get a bite.
Shawarma scene.
Yeah,
and they're just eating.
Yeah, the end. All right, what's your score?
You go first. Why don't you go first?
I'm giving it based on. I know we rip shit to shreds, and it's easy to even do almost a perfect movie and go, well, this part.
Sure. Every movie has a problem.
Right?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the shit out of it.
Okay.
Again, it's not perfect. I'm gonna give it a 6.5. I liked it. I liked the chemistry.
Okay.
I enjoyed watching them two do what they do.
I did too. Yeah.
And that to me by itself is to sit there for them 2 hours being funny is worth a 5 for me. Cause
when I ended the movie, I was like, that's a definite 5 for me. But I'm like, we talked about it a little bit. You're right, I did like George Clooney and Brad Pitt, so I'm gonna go 5.8.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's not a bad movie.
No.
Like, if someone's like Megalopolis or Wolves, you're like, Wolves 100
Megalopolis.
times.
Oh, yeah. Wolves, of course.
But yeah, my biggest critique would be just give us a movie.
Give us a movie.
Don't give us.
I don't need sequels.
Don't build. Don't.
No.
We don't need.
Nope.
Just.
No.
Let Marvel handle all that. Like, not everything needs to be a universal. Like, let's make 27 movies.
Not everything needs to be a connected universe.
No.
Although Apple doesn't really have one of those.
True.
So I can see in their defense.
But it needed to be more of a spectacle then.
Yeah.
It was too
tame.
Too tame then, if that's what they're trying to build. Yep. Like, it was oceansy, but not oceansy enough. That's what I mean. Like,
nobody's going to talk about this movie for the next 5 years like they did with John Wick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Or the Oceans movies.
Or the Oceans movies.
You're not going to be like, in that part where they like cut the power in the casino and they're underneath the elevator. And like, there's none of that in this movie.
No.
It's like, hey, like these two, one in his late 60s, one in his early 60s, crabby dudes that are arguing funny. It's like,
yeah, kind of.
That's the movie.
That's the movie. That's a review. I'd watch this one. I'd recommend.
Oh yeah, I would. If
you have an iPhone, I think you have Apple TV Plus, just like automatically.
At least like one of them. Apple TV Plus. They're pushing this everywhere.
Yeah. So
it's definitely worth a watch. It's better than most of the Netflix movies we've seen recently.
I probably would have
quality than that.
I probably would have been more high on it if it was in theaters.
Yeah,
like
it definitely would have been. The chase scene would have been better in theaters. A couple of the shootouts. The car shootout was really cool where the gangsters come out.
Yeah, and everyone would have been laughing. Like, if you go and see it in a full theater, like, it would have been, the jokes would have hit more, the action would have hit more.
I think you're right, yeah. I think they whiffed on this by not putting it in the theater.
It was going into theaters.
Yeah.
There were trailers in movie theaters for this movie, like, in theaters, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Nope. Now streaming. Oh. A baby duckling, like, that the robot then has to take care of because the duck, like, imprinted on it. And thinks it's its mom, you know.
But then they pull too quick on that thread too.
Yeah, they do.
That's what I mean. Like, I really thought this was going to be a like last robot. He has to help save an animal. The animals don't trust him because it's from previous human.
Which we kind of.